Hello, everybody. This is Francesco Rulli. I'm the CEO of Querlo. I'm also the Chief Digital and Cognitive Officer of the Florence Cathedral Museum that you see behind me. I'm here today with Professor Larry Basirico, who is here with us to share a little bit of his background and his thoughts about the role of artificial intelligence. So first of all, Larry, if you can share with us what you have been doing and what you are doing professionally.
Okay, so now I'm Professor Emeritus of Sociology from Elon University. I retired about 2 years ago. I taught courses, I've written books, textbooks, and especially became interested in Florence. I was the Dean of International Programs for 5 years and began a program for Elon University in Florence. And in 2013, I was the faculty in residence there and lived there for 4 months and became fascinated with Florence. I've returned about 10 times or so. I've written about 15 articles for the Florentine and became interested in artificial intelligence a few years ago when I was doing a little bit of consulting for Accademia Europea di Firenze, for the former president, who was very interested in artificial intelligence. And we were trying to explore different ways it could be used in education.
Fantastic. So, Larry, the other day I shared with you the link to the Michelangelo artificial intelligence that we actually developed in collaboration with the Florence Cathedral Museum, the Duomo, or the Opera di Santa Maria del Fiore, and that has been curated by Monsignor Verdon, who is the head of the museum there. So what are your thoughts about, first of all, speaking to Michelangelo 457 years after his passing, and the role of artificial intelligence in the space of museum and education?
Mm-hmm. I found it interesting to speak to him and asking every possible question, from questions about what inspired him for different works like the David. I asked him if he was a religious person. I asked him about where he lived, a little bit about his family life. I asked him what he liked to eat, his favorite food. Mm-hmm. So I found those interesting. Some of the questions were answered a little bit indirectly, and sometimes I received a little bit too much information that I was not looking for specifically, but buried in that information was the answer that I was looking for. So I think with a little bit of refinement, it could be a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic program. I think the idea of using this as a learning tool is fantastic, but I think that students and professors need to learn that this is not a complete substitute for education, but a tool. And as with all artificial intelligence, it's not a competition. We can't do what artificial intelligence can do. It can think much faster than the human brain. So this is not a threat, but what we need to do with this program, I think, and all artificial intelligence in education, is to teach students, how do we use it? How do we create with it, rather than it being a substitute for education? What's the best way that we can use this in a creative way, which I think is the challenge, because it's so new to so many people, and they're so used to thinking of educational tools as in the old way. You know, you read it, you look at it as a substitute, rather than this is a tool for growing in ways that have not been explored yet.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I can share with you a little bit what has been our experience. Building the artificial intelligence of Michelangelo was the first step to create a knowledge base for us to empower what today is in everybody's mouth is the metaverse. Okay. When I look at monuments like this, the baptistry, the cathedral, the tower, I think of those as the beginning of the metaverse. So in my opinion, the architects and the artists participated to create these environments. And instead of avatars, they had statues. Instead of three-dimensional rooms, they had frescoes that gave this opportunity, this depth of communication. And the artificial intelligence of Michelangelo is just like the beginning of empowering an avatar or a series of characters within those new metaverse to communicate both ways. Just to give you some ideas in numbers, we collect about 35,000 questions, and they allow us to bring the knowledge base from 100 intense topics to over 500. So that's the process of educating an artificial intelligence. Definitely what you brought up about one question being answered with an answer that contains too many information is also a way for us to contain the cost of maintaining such artificial intelligence. But eventually, that's why we're actually launching a series of NFTs, or the role of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, is being also a currency that allows institutions to pay for improving their artificial intelligences and provide the patronage support, that is restoration, maintenance, and education around the masterpiece. So that's the concept. So when you look at the fresco, you can actually today start thinking, I could talk to the artist who created it, or each one, or some of the characters within the representation, all right? So that's where we are at. And nothing, from your perspective, now you mentioned that obviously artificial intelligence is a tool. Do you think that institutions are ready to embrace this technology and put teachers, professors, and the faculty and the students behind the development of those artificial intelligence?
I think it depends on who the professors are in the schools. Obviously, I think the younger faculty would be much more open to the idea and much more creative. The older faculty still are struggling with how to use an iPhone sometimes, right? And they're a little bit afraid of things. But I think especially with the younger faculty, especially in the world that we are in right now, of not just the world of COVID, but the world of remote education, which I don't think is going away, because online learning has been in process a long time before COVID began. I've taught online courses 4 or 5 times during the summer, entire courses. Every year, Elon University, for example, has a number of online courses. It's not the main way of education, obviously, but it still has become an option. But now within the last 2 years, I think that whole world has become a reality. So yes, absolutely. I think there's a greater and greater opportunities for that, both in terms of not only the younger faculty, but also the awareness now that artificial intelligence is here to stay. And once faculty can learn what it does. For example, in the beginning, when we first started teaching online, many faculty, including myself, were very intimidated. And after teaching a class for a few years, I began to realize that this is fantastic. I can do more through the online sometimes. It depends on how it's structured, obviously, right? It's not the same class online, but I can do more sometimes online than I can. So I think in the same way, this could work in that particular way, artificial intelligence. But there has to be a training for the faculty.
Yeah, definitely. So Larry, thank you for your contribution, and we'll speak again.
Great, fantastic. Thanks for talking to me.
Thank
Ciao.
you. Thank you.